Hello there everyone and welcome back to our virtual science classroom. This is your teacher Daryl Del Mundo, and today we will tackle all about the second part of cells. But I just want to thank you for our short prayer a while ago, and for our secretary, again, do not forget to take down notes of how many boys and how many girls do we have, or kindly check the attendance. Then later on, send to our group chat. Okay? Do not forget. And for the part B of about cells, we were talking about different organelles. Okay? So last time, natackle na rin natin siya, but this time, we will just have a short discussion about this one. As you can see, that cells have different organs that we call organelles. Okay, and in this topic, not just all about cell organelles, but we will discuss another thing aside from the organelles. Okay, so in this module, this is divided into 3 lessons, namely Lesson 1, scientists involved in the discovery of the cell. Number 2, cell and its organelles. Diba? Last time natakil na natin siya, so this is just a continuation. Then for lesson number 3, types of cells as observed in a microscope and its examples. So we will give some examples of the cells that maybe you are aware of or sometimes maybe not. Yep. So this part, as our looking back, what we have to do is to identify what cell is being described by the sentence. So are you ready? It is based on what we have discussed last time. So number 1, cells that has no true nucleus. Any idea? Can you guess? Okay, so the correct answer is prokaryotic cell, which means they are the cells that has no true nucleus. For example, bacteria. So this is the example of the bacteria. So for number 1, kapag sinabi natin mga prokaryotic cells, sila yung mga walang nucleus. Ito yun. Yung nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. Kaya kung papansin nyo yung DNA nila, it is just scattered in their cytoplasm. So another thing is some protozoans. And then number 2, cells that has true nucleus with cell wall and chloroplast. Any idea? Can you guess what is the correct answer for number 2? Okay, so the correct answer is plant cell, a eukaryotic cell. So eukaryotic cell has true nucleus, and plant cell has the cell, or plant cell is the only cell that has cell wall and chloroplast. For number 3, cells that has true nucleus and with centrioles for cell division. So we have bacteria, and then we have plant cell. Next, we have, there you go, animal cell is also a eukaryotic cell. So remember that animal cell has centrioles for cell division kasi ang animal cell kailangan ng centrioles para makapag-divide sila. Ang plant cell, hindi na nila kailangan ng centrioles because there is what we call plate. Okay? Nagkakaroon sila ng cell plate na yun yung nagiging dahilan kung bakit nakakapag-divide ang mga plant cells. Okay? So, has true nucleus, those are eukaryotic cells. So, we have plant cell with chloroplast and cell wall. Then, animal cell is also a eukaryotic cell with centrioles for cell division. And that has no true nucleus are prokaryotic cells. Examples are bacteria. Got it? Okay, so let's proceed to lesson number 1. We are going to discuss the scientists who are involved in the discovery of the cell. So it is not just an accident, but there are scientists behind their discoveries. So as a brief introduction, so this is the timeline of the cell. Okay, in 1665, Robert Hooke is the 17th century natural philosopher, which is who considered to be early scientist and his most notable discovery came about cell. So siya yung nagbigay ng idea about cell. Okay? Kumbaga, siguro yung ibang tao wala pang idea kung ano yung pinakamaliit na bagay na binubuo ang isang living thing. So si Robert Hooke ang nagbigay buhay sa cell. Okay? And then in 1680 by Anton van Leeuwenhoek, he was cited for his observation of single-celled organisms and the first microbiologist to study muscle fibers, bacteria, spermatozoa, and blood flow in the capillary. So since he was considered the father of microbiology, he is also the inventor of the microscope. So he was able to study those cells. Okay? And then in 1833, by Robert Brown, in this time, he discovered the nucleus in the plant cell. So, siya nakadiscover ng nucleus ng plant cell, si Robert Brown. Then, during 1838, in the time of Matthias Claden, he stated that cells were the basic building blocks of plants. So, nagkaroon siya ng idea that the basic blocks or the building blocks of plants are cells. Diba? Unti-unting nagkakaroon ng development. Then, during 1839, by Theodore Swan, he stated that cells of animals and plants are different structures. So, doon nagkaroon ng differentiation when it comes to the physical structure of a plant cell and then animal cell. Then, during 1855, in the time of Rudolf Virchow made a theory that all cells came from existing cells. Ito na yung cell theory. So, we have Robert Hooke, we have Anton van Leeuwenhoek, Robert Brown, Matthias Claden, Theodore Swan, and Rudolf Virchow are the scientists who are behind the discovery and the development of the discoveries of the cell. So, this is their timeline. Not just the cell, but also the organelles. Okay, so as a brief introduction, based on the results of the study by various scientists, cell theory was summarized into three. Number one, all living things are made up of cells. Correct. Living things lang, ha? Number two, the cell is structural and functional unit of all living things. Then number three, all cells came from pre-existing cells by the process of division. So do not forget the three important things about cell theory, okay? Then for lesson number 2, cell parts and its function. Although we discussed this last week, but we will just, highlight some important things that we need to learn about cell organelles. So, not just cell organelles, but also the important things that we need to highlight in this lesson. Okay, let's start. Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. The human body is composed of trillions of cells. Each cell contains smaller organelles that perform various functions such as support, metabolism, movement of molecules, transport system, energy production, facilitated growth, and reproduction through cell division. Cells have many parts called organelles, small organs, each with a specific function and with dynamic interaction into its parts. Take a look at its part. So now, let us take a look at its parts. So we have here nucleus, and inside the nucleus is the nucleolus. Then we have the endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth one. So this is where it is located. And then we have mitochondria. It is look like a bean shape, right? And then we have cell membrane, which is the outer covering of the cell, which is also a semi-permeable. A vacuole, and this part is as small as vesicle. Kasi sa animal cell ito, so maliit lang siya. Pag sa plant cell, malaki yan. Then cytoplasm, the gel-like substance. It is a gel-like substance where the organelles are located. And then we have ribosomes there. Yung maliliit na dots na yan. Those are the ribosomes that are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum, and some of it are freely moving in the cytoplasm. And then we have chromosomes. So chromosomes are inside the nucleus. Remember that. Then we have the Golgi apparatus. This is what the Golgi apparatus look like. So ito yung packaging center of the cell. Then lysosome. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So ito yung naglilinis ng cell kapag na-invade siya ng kung ano-ano mga foreign objects. So lysosome yun. Okay? Then that is the part of the cells that what we call organelles. And then for lesson number 3, there are two general types of cells. So like what we have last time, we have prokaryotic cell, right? So there are two general types of cells. In the previous lesson that you learned about animal cells and plant cells, there is also the nerve cells, skin cells, and bone cells from human cells and even bacterial cells. So under prokaryotic cell, we know that we have a bacterial cell. So kung napapansin nyo, meron siyang parang hair-like structure, yung maliliit na buntot. Okay? That is what we call cilia. Okay? C-I-L-L-I-A. Okay? Cilia. And then, itong mahabang buntot na yan, sometimes meron din yun sa animal cell. That is what you call flagellum. Kapag isa, kapag singular. Kapag marami, flagella. Okay, so that is for moving or movement or locomotion para makagalaw yung mga bacteria at syempre sa animal cells naman para makapag move ang sperm cell. And then yung mga nerve cells, skin cells, bone cells na yan from the human ay makikita natin yung itsura mamaya. But this time I will show you first the bacterial cell. Okay, so however, whether a bacterial cells or human cells, all cells can be generally classified as prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. So we have animal cell, plant cell. Again, prokaryotic has no true nucleus, eukaryotic has true nucleus. So it all depends on how the cell store its DNA. Kasi kapag ang DNA naka-enclose sa nuclear membrane, that is eukaryotic cell. Kapag ang DNA naka-scattered around the cytoplasm, that is a prokaryotic cell. So, sila yung mga naunang mga cells, even pa nung unang panahon. Ibig sabihin, wala pa ng mga eukaryotic cells. So, sila yung mga prokaryotic cells. So, sila yung mga naunang mga cells, wala pa yung mga eukaryotic cells. Kaya sila tinawag na prokaryotic cells. Okay, so, mga single cell or organisms sila bago pa magkaroon ng mga plant cells and animal cells. So they are the prokaryotic cells. Sila yung mga nauna. So what are the differences between the two? So between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So prokaryotes ang tawag sa mga prokaryotic cells. A prokaryotic cell is a simple single-celled or unicellular organism that lacks a nucleus or any other membrane-bound organelle. Lower forms of organism like bacteria are a classic example of these. Okay? While on the other hand, eukaryotes or eukaryotic cells, they are the cells that has membrane-bound nucleus and other membrane-bound compartments or sacs called organelles, which have specialized functions. The word eukaryotic means true nucleus, or the presence of membrane-bound nucleus in these cells. Higher form of organisms has this type of this cell. Okay, ito yung may mga multicellular like animals and plants and even humans. So in this part, we will discuss some human body cells. So there are varied cells in human body. There are cells that perform specific functions and have a modified structure like the red blood cells or RBC, a component of blood. So RBC lacks a nucleus, so wala siyang nucleus. Tandaan nyo, ang red blood cells, no nucleus. To make more space for the oxygen-carrying pigment hemoglobin. There are also nerve cells, skin cells, bone cells, and sex cells. Through or though they might look different under a microscope, most cells have chemical and structural features in common. In humans, there are about 200 different types of cells. These cells all work in harmony to carry out all the basic functions necessary for humans to survive. I just remember yung anime na Cells at Work. So if you have time to watch Cells at Work, it is a beautiful anime. Ine-explain niya na kung paano gumagana or nagtatrabaho ang mga cells sa loob ng katawan. And it is like 95 to 99% accurate. You can try watching it. Okay, so these are some examples of human body cells. So we have bone cells. So the robust body cell systems are bound together by calcium and phosphate. It is the body's strength, support, and framework enclosing organs in the skeletal system. So this is what it looks like. I will show you kapag makikita niyo siya under the microscope. So medyo iba, pero kapag tinignan niyo lang yung bone cells, ito ang itsura. And then we have nerve cells, or sometimes they are called neurons. Ang mga bone cells naman ang tawag sa kanila ay osteocytes. Again, osteocytes. Ang nerve cells, neurons. So the nerve cells, also known as neurons, are the active component of the nervous system. Neurons communicate with each other as well as with other cells through electric signals or nerve impulses, which in turn allows elector or effector organs to respond to the appropriate stimuli. Ito yung stimuli response. Kapag natusok ka dito, di ba, mararamdaman mo agad na nasaktan ka or natusok ka, sasabihin sa'yo ng utak mo. Kasi yun yung pinapasa nilang stimulus response. Okay? Or kung ano yung paano mag-respond yung katawan mo sa environment. Okay? And then we have skeletal muscles or muscle cells pala muna. So muscle cells, we have skeletal muscles, one of the examples of muscle cells, then smooth muscles, then cardiac muscles. Muscle cells exist in three forms based on its location and function. Skeletal muscles make up our muscles connected to the skeleton for locomotion. Ito yung mga nakadikit na muscle doon sa bone natin. Smooth muscle is found in involuntary muscle like intestines and stomach. Ito yung mga nasa bituka natin. Kaya sila tinawag na involuntary kasi hindi mo sila kayang kontrolin. Okay, so they can move on their own. Kapag nagugutom ka na, di ba, yung stomach mo kusang gumagalaw, even yung intestine mo. Then, our heart has cardiac muscle. So, yun yung tinatawag nating cardiac muscle, the muscle of the heart. Then we have sex cells. We have egg cells and sperm cells, or sometimes tinatawag itong germ cells kasi germinating cells. Sex cells or gametes contains half of the genetic material haploid as a normal body cell. Egg cells are produced in female reproductive organ while sperm cells in male reproductive organ. Pag sinabi natin haploid kasi sa humans, we have 46 chromosomes. Okay, so yung 23 galing sa egg cell, yung 23 galing sa sperm cell. Pag nag-join sila, nagiging 46 chromosomes kapag humans ang offspring o yung baby nila. Okay? And then, here are other examples of cells in the body. Katulad ng pinakita ko sa inyo kanina, bone cells. So, marami kasi part ng bone eh. May mga spongy bone tayo, may mga compact bone tayo, at may mga soft bone, yung mga cartilages natin. At sometimes, ito yung makikita nyo under the microscope. Okay? And then we also have skin cells. Yan. Ito yung mga cells natin sa balat or mga lining ng organ natin. And then we have blood cells. Sa blood cells natin, we have three components. We have platelets, red blood cells, and then white blood cells. Pinakamarami yung white blood cells because they are the one who fights the infection of our body. Red blood cells, they are the one who carries the oxygen throughout the body. And platelets, sila naman yung nagiging dahilan, yung mga platelets, kung bakit yung mga sugat natin ay nagko-close agad. It's because of that platelets. Okay? And then, so all you have to do is to answer the following in our module. For you to be able to do that, you need to watch and rewatch the video and review, okay? To answer all the questions in our module that is in your Google Classroom. So again, class, answers only. Sagutan lang, tapos picturean. Okay? Tapos ito yung i-attach nyo sa ating Google Classroom. So for our lesson 1, answer pages pre-test, pages 3 to 4 yon. Then pages 5 to 6. Then for lesson number 2, please do pages 7 to 9. And then for lesson number 3, pages 10 and 12. Then the post-test is 13 to 14. Kasi yung gagawin nyo dun sa pinakadulo, class, yun yung tinatawag nating performance task na ninyo. So ito yung performance task number 4 ninyo, yung after ng post-test nyo. Okay? So if you have any questions, suggestions, and questions, kindly visit my social media accounts in YouTube, in Instagram, Facebook, and especially to our GC sa messenger natin. Okay? So thank you so much, and that is the end of our week number 4 of quarter 2. So I hope you will be having a great day, and God bless you all. Do not forget to send and submit your answers in our Google Classroom. Have a nice day. See you next week. Bye.